Crash Bandicoot High School Chapter 8. We're finishing it. We're getting it over with. Crash's POV, Friday lunch period. I scanned the outside lunch area, searching for Pasadena. I saw her sitting at a table by herself, waiting for me. I motioned for Carbon, who had followed me out, to come with me. I sat down next to Pasadena, and Carbon sat across from us. I gently kissed Pasadena, grinning. Was his mouth like open? Was it like kissing her with his teeth? Is it how do you kiss someone while grinning? Like you just that's got to be uncomfortable.
Crash, I was waiting for you,
she said to me, smiling back as I kissed her.
Well, wait no longer, for I am here,
I said, my grin widening. How wide is this grin going to get? Is it going to be like creepypasta level? I don't know how I feel about that. Pasadena scooted closer, snuggling up close to me, and I put my arm around her. Carbon watched us in a state of complete disgust.
So you guys know that everybody's watching you guys right now. You two.
You two are the talk of the town. You can't even spell the number 2 right. I'm so incredibly disappointed in you, Carbon said. Pasadena and I both looked around. Sure enough, the entire school was watching us. All 1,000 furry children are watching you. Make out. Do it. Do it. Faces full of curiosity, contempt, or both were all around. Pasadena looked at me, blushing. I looked around, giving everyone the evil eye, and they looked away. Tana's POV. I stared at Pasadena and Crash from a somewhat distant table, where I sat with Meg and Kitty. I almost puked when they kissed.
It's a shame that Pasadena stole him from you, especially after you were about to start being a better girlfriend,
Kitty said.
Especially since she's just going to cheat on him, like with her past relationships,
Meg said.
That's all right. Wait, what did you just say, Mike?
I asked.
Yeah, Kitty and I checked into Pasadena's past relationships, and all of that ended when she got cheating. When she got caught cheating.
Meg said.
That thieving little slut.
I said.
Well, it doesn't matter, because I have a plan to get Crash back. How are you going to do that?
Kitty asked, confused.
It's a secret, but I'm putting my plan into action tomorrow night when Crash comes over.
I said, grinning. Crash would soon be mine again. Coco's POV after school at home. I smiled at Spyro, who sat on the other side of my bed. We were doing math, was out with Tana. We were doing math, was out with Tana. You mean Crash? What? Huh? Crunch was downstairs watching football, and Aku Aku was working late. Aku Aku was always fucking working. What a worthless fucking dad. What a deadbeat goddamn wooden mask dad.
You know, Spyro, we could take a break from this homework.
I got up and shut the door, grinning. Spyro blushed, but nodded as I giggled in excitement. I hopped onto the bed next to him, and he kissed me. I broke the kiss for a few moments, only to slip off his shirt before we were at it again. This went on until we were both out of breath. I slipped my own shirt off and then began to unbutton Spyro's jeans. Are all these animals wearing fucking, like, full-on clothes? It's just so, like, is it weird to me that these animal mascots are, like, full-on just wearing clothing? I mean, some of the Crash Bandicoot characters totally get it, but, like, Spyro, he's not even bipedal. He's not even bipedal. He's not even bipedal. Pedal. He stood to make it easier, and then I slid them off with no problem. He removed my bra, and I slid down his boxers. As soon as I saw what lay beneath them, I gasped in anticipation. Crunch's POV. I sat switching between. Is it really Crunch's POV? I think this is like one of the first times. Maybe this is the first time we're getting Crunch's POV, but it's just because of plot convenience. I sat switching between channels, watching the wild card games. Wild card games? Is that a thing? Is football? Go football. You beat the fuck out of them with your big old meaty pigskin. As Green Bay scored a touchdown, of course, Crunch would be watching a Breen Gay Bane. That's, I just have a stroke again. Am I stroking out? Is this fan fiction making me go absolutely mental again? Have all my neural pathways just kind of decided to connect into one big neural pathway? Am I in hell? Is this hell? Did I accidentally fall into a portal to hell while I was reading this fan fiction? I kind of think I did. Anyway, football joke. I thought I heard something upstairs. It sounded like moaning, which frightened me. Sexy ghosts. I turned the television down so I could hear better, and sure enough, I could hear moaning. I rushed upstairs to investigate. My sister's door was shut, and I could hear her inside. I opened the door and yelled out in surprise. My sister was naked and on her knees. Her boyfriend, Spyro, was thrusting his member. Have I mentioned how much I fucking hate the word member for penis? It's like it's part of some exclusive club. I don't like that. Just call it a dick. Just call it a dick. Flowery language is fine and all, but member's such a stupid fucking word. It's part of the dick club inside of her from behind doggy style. As soon as I yelled out, both Coco and Spyro looked up at me and a look of fear crossed both their faces.
Crunch, it's not what it looks like,
Coco yelled out, standing up to search for her clothes. I think this is exactly what it looks like, I said, trying to get rid of the image of Spyro fucking my sister.
Look, please don't tell Dad. He'll kill me,
Coco said, putting her clothes on. I thought quickly and decided I wouldn't tell our dad, simply to avoid an awkward conversation between the entire family. I promise, I said.
Thank you,
Coco said, relief flooding across both her and Spyro's faces. Chapter 9. Crash's POV, Saturday, approximately 11 a.m. I watched the road intently as I drove towards Pasadena's house. Upon arriving, I parked at the side of the road. I gazed at the house. It was large, 2 stories and white. The grass was cut short in the lawn, and a flower garden stretched along the length of the house, save for in front of the door and the driveway. I pulled on my phone and texted Pasadena. I'm here. You ready? I waited a couple minutes before my phone beeped. I picked it up and read the reply text from Pasadena. Almost, what are we doing, stupid fucking smiley face? I quickly typed a reply. I thought we'd go to Nina Cortex's party. I knew she's kind of rude, but a lot of people will be there. I waited for a reply and my phone beeped after a minute. Okay, ... A few minutes later, she walked out. Her hair was hair was curled, and as though once again, I'm fucking stroking out here. And as the sunlight hit her at just the right angle, I gasped, as she looked like a goddess. She hopped in the truck, smiling at me, and I couldn't stop staring at her.
Is something wrong?
She asked me.
No, it's just that, well, you look really, beautiful, right now,
I said, hardly able to get it out.
Thanks,
she said, giving me a quick kiss before I started driving. We arrived at the party about 10 minutes later, and though it had only started 10 minutes prior, the house was already packed. The host, Nina, was the most spoiled girl in the school. Many people, though, that her father, Neo Cortex, one of the science teachers, was giving orders to Mr. Potoru, the principal, on how to run the school. Though, can you write thought? Can you just write thought? Which is what Pasadena is, coincidentally. I didn't completely buy into these rumors, but I did believe that Professor Cortex still had more influence on how things were ran than most of the other teachers. Professor Cortex also had many friends in the field of law enforcement and was often able to get away with things that should have earned him minor repercussions. That's why Nina was able to host this party during the day instead of at night, secretly. How's his connections related to, like, her? He's a shitty dad and a shitty teacher. I held Pasadena's hand as we entered the packed house. We found Carbon almost immediately, and he had already been drinking a little. This party is great, Carbon shouted above the music. We stayed for several hours, and I confess I had a drink, but then Luke showed up to stir up trouble. He saw me and Pasadena and walked up to us. Hey, buddy, he grinned. I see you got yourself another girl already. But of course everyone in school knows that already. I heard Tana was pretty shook up at first. What do you want? I asked. Just making simple chit-chat. You fucked her yet? He asked, pointing at Pasadena. I was over at Tana's yesterday, and let me tell you, she's I cut him off, punching him in the face. It was probably a big pop there, apologies. You don't talk about my current girlfriend or my ex like that, you understand? I shouted. Luke grinned at me and threw a punch of his own, but I moved. I moved out of the way, and he swung at a glass vase, smashing it. Nina entered the room, obviously furious. Luke, Crash, get out, she shouted. Crash, take your girlfriend and your friend with you. Luke started arguing with Nina while I grabbed Pasadena and Carbon and left. Coco's POV, Saturday, 12 p.m. Is this like Law & Order SVU now? I was in the kitchen, making lunch for Crunch. Spyro and myself. My dad was working as usual, and Crash was, as had become normally, with Pasadena. I was making grilled cheese sandwiches. Crunch and Spyro were both in the living room, watching football. I grinned as I heard them arguing about which team would win. I brought out the sandwiches and watched the game with them, though I understood none of it. Afterwards, Spyro and I went up to my room to finish our math homework from yesterday. I made sure to try and be quiet with my moaning so Crunch wouldn't hear, though I suspected he knew what Spyro and I were doing. They were doing sex. Tana's POV, Saturday, 9 p.m. I sat patiently awaiting the arrival of Quash. 2 drinks sat on the counter, and I intently kept track of which was mine and which was Crash's. If I drank from the wrong cup, my plan would go to hell. Is she gonna roofie Crash and then fuck him? Is that what's gonna happen? I haven't read ahead. I'm disappointed, but not surprised. I heard the doorbell ring, and I quickly rushed to the door and opened it. "Welcome," I said, allowing my soon-to-be ex-boyfriend in.
You know, I was a bit surprised when you asked me to hang out, but I'm glad you did, and I'm glad you're taking this so well, Crash said. Me too, I said, faking a smile. So I was thinking that we could watch a movie.
I walked to the counter and grabbed my drink. "And I'll have a drink here for you." Crash drank it as he waited for me to pick a movie. We sat down and watched, and I waited patiently. I had drugged the drink. It was a drug that would leave Crash completely conscious, but perfectly willing to do anything I had asked. That's not a real thing. I mean, this is fantasy. This is a fantasy place. But it's like a real high school. I fucking... Okay, you know what? No more conjecture. Let's just get into this fucking hellhole. Halfway through the movie, I was sure the drug had sufficient time to work.
Hey, Crash,
"Want to cuddle?" I asked. He nodded and cuddled up next to me.
on second though, Crash, I kind of want to have some fun. Would you take off your clothes?
He, without a word, removed his clothes, and I did the same.
"Pull out your phone and record this,"
I said, dropping to my knees in front of his dick. He did, as I asked, and I started to suck him off. I smiled at the camera as I deep-throated Crash's member. "You said dick a minute ago. How hard is it just to say dick, penis, dick, penis? It's easy. It's writing it for you. I'm writing the porn for you. I'm fixing it for you." Eventually, Crash blew his load in my mouth, and I swallowed.
"This is what happens when you try to take my boyfriend, Pasadena,"
I said to the camera. Then to Crash,
"Will you lay on the couch?"
He did, and I got on top of him, bouncing up and down on his large dick, still having him record. This went on for hours until I decided to let Crash get some sleep. I then uploaded the video from Crash's phone onto the internet. So what happens next in this story? What is the next step for Crash Bandicoot High School? Unfortunately, the author left this story unfinished, so you'll have to come up with the ending in your own imagination. If you liked this story, well, I'm sorry, you may have a problem. As for a review, no. My review is no. Don't read this. Only watch these videos if you want to hear me suffer. Thank you for watching. Please check out my other videos. They're also things. And thanks to everyone who gave me art for the Crash Bandicoot thumbnails. Really appreciate you. Big kisses. Mwah, mwah. If you'd like to subscribe to watch more of my terrible videos, hey, that's an option. If you want to watch the rest of Crash Bandicoot High School, if for some reason you watch this out of sequence because you're a gosh darn weirdo, hey, that's an option too. You'll see it on this little end card screen coming up here soon. And also I have a Patreon because I'm human garbage and I need all the help I can diddly darn get. And that's it. That's the end of Crash Bandicoot High School. It's kind of disappointing. Though we finally got some sex. Am I right?